All right, welcome back to the channel. We're going over the Nasdaq 100, the SP 500, the cold, hard charts. Now we're going to talk about exactly what I'm liking. A trade we took yesterday that absolutely printed. Again, I told you on Twitter, told you in Discord, I told you everywhere. So you were prepared. Before we get into that content, I ask you to consider doing two things: liking and subscribing. Every single day I'm making videos for you so you are prepared and ready to trade. Just so you know, until Friday, we will have the Black Friday sale, code NOV50 for 50% off any single thing we have going on with the site. So make sure you check it out. That is what is going on right now. And let's get to the chart. So it was a holiday going into tomorrow, so no trading, but we need to talk about going into Friday and next week. Now, before we go over these charts, we need to cover the big news, which was Fed minutes. And I talked to you yesterday, and I believe I gave you the notion that Fed minutes would in fact be bullish. And I gave you that notion this morning also. This morning, every morning, just so you know, pre-market, I do lives. So I won't be doing one tomorrow because it's a holiday, but Friday morning, I will be doing a pre-market. So every morning, 7 a.m. Central, I will be live an hour before market open. So make sure you're there and make sure you're ready to trade. Now, I told you my favorite stocks, Starbucks and Tesla. Those did really well. We'll talk about those later. But we're talking about Fed minutes, and this was the bullish aspect of the day. Why was Fed minutes going to be bullish, and how did we know? Now, we can look at Fed minutes and we can say breaking news stocks, higher for second day as Fed minutes signal for smaller rate hikes. Was this any new news overall? No. Was this any a big surprise in what they were going to say? No. All Fed minutes is basically a repeat or just annotations from what was said at the previous meeting. We already knew what was said. So if you're coming into this surprise, you're either following someone or reading news that's just a waste of your time, or people are just kind of lying out their teeth, right? Now, I'm as bearish as the next guy as far as expectations with inflation and the market slowdown is going to come over the next year or so. I still see potential for downside, but you could not come into Fed minutes being a bear. Why? It comes specifically into what was expected, right? When you just go across the whole board, there's things you have to look for. This will be down below if you want to watch this, read this, just so you want. I don't want to spend that much time going over this. But when we look at PPI and CPI, those both did really well. We saw inflation slow down in those aspects. When we saw unemployment start to rise a little bit also. Durable goods, those numbers came out stronger than we wanted. Right here. At the same time, however, durable goods orders for October were stronger than anticipated, coming in at 1% higher than the 0.5% expected. We're going to talk about the downside potential for the market here in a second. But overall, you cannot look or read Fed minutes and be bearish. Again, why? Because this is just a reiteration about everything that was said in the beginning of the month. And since then, we've had nothing but good data. Yes, there's no question. There's nothing else like that. However, what I will say is this is not necessarily good news. We do not, or the Fed doesn't want to see durable good orders going up. The Fed doesn't want to see consumers necessarily satisfying demand. At the same time, while the consumer is the strength of the market, it's also the head driver of inflation. Inflation will not slow down as long as the consumer continues to solidify the demand that is there. You have to understand that. So it's a catch-22, if you will. Now, when we get to the charts, this is kind of as good as it gets. Again, I expected some slower range moving until possibly Fed minutes. And then yesterday, I told you all, I said, we got some surprise moving on SPY, some good stuff happening. But what did I tell you? I said, I'm going long on Tesla. Again, if you're not on Twitter, the link is down below. Everyone knows that I'm having fun with everyone here also, right? I said I was short Coinbase, which I had made money in that position. I cut half of it, got into positions at a lower level, and so I ran it as a hedge. So I closed Coinbase today in Discord, minus 800, but I made almost 7,000 on Tesla. This is just for myself personally. And I've been doing this more because you guys have been requesting to see actually what I'm doing, and then end of the month, I do a recap of everything, right? So that's what we're seeing right now. Now, I just want to reiterate so everyone can see, so you know, like when you're on Twitter, this is just a follower on Twitter, right? Up whatever, however much, right? Again, just want to highlight so you can all see this is all happening. Again, yesterday, November 22nd, right here, 313. I told everyone so you knew. And you had entry opportunities this morning also. But going back here, what's happening? If we look at the market, We saw the descending triangle here on the 4-hour, and then we eventually got a breakout yesterday. This is when we had to start looking at the market from a bullish aspect. The fact that you reverse trend on the NQ. We were bearish on NQ in comparison to the ES, which we'll talk about here in a second, but you can see NQ is moving back up. 11.8, big level, you broke above and mounted. So in my opinion, going into Friday, going into next week, you have to anticipate upside, okay? You just have to. Just based on what's happening, based on the minutes. The next big data pull, so you know, will be PCE inflation. I'll cover that when the time comes. And as it gets closer, I'll let you know so you're prepared. But right now, there's nothing to really be concerned about. So Friday is just going to be a half day, just so you know also. But I anticipate upside into Friday. My next target here on NQ has got to be around the 12.1 to 12.15 region. That's your next supply. That's where we were rejected previously. This level is pretty tight here, but I can actually draw it down a little bit more. It should be a little bit lower, just so you know about this area right here. That's where it should be going down to. But that's your supply, your next big level. So that's where NQ is. Now, if we look at ES, S&P futures, again, a little bit of a different story here, but very, very bullish. Very bullish. If we get rid of everything, just really quick here, I want to highlight 40.29 was a big level. I just want to highlight, in my opinion, you're forming somewhat of an ascending triangle. Okay, higher lows being formed here, clearly making a top locally at this range, roughly right here. You're pushing up right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see, I would be surprised to actually see a dip. Maybe in the pre-market and the after hours, possibly a dip. But in my opinion, you're going to 4,100. Very, very likely. That's your next range up here. Your previous highs back from September 12th, September 13th. You look extremely, extremely good right now. And again, the driving force of this, do I think inflation is handled? No. Do I think the Fed's completely going to pivot? No. But we have to look at the writing on the walls right now, people. And that's what I do here. I come here unbiased every single day so you are prepared and know what to expect. When we look at what's happening, the writing on the walls, everything the Fed asked to happen to get a pivot is happening right now. So am I going to be a mind reader and tell you if the Fed's going to pivot? No, but I'm going to tell you the market's going to react to that right now. That's how we're going to move structurally across the board. Looking at the Dow also, this is probably the most bullish sector in the entire market. The Dow broke straight through supply. Now you're at your high right now. This is your previous high you had established back in August. Okay. Now if we go to the daily time frame, I mean, it looks incredible, people. Incredible. Your next range is all the way up to around 35.2 here on the Dow. You have to go to the 4-hour to even try to find a next level supply. But I'm telling you now, you're extremely bullish. I couldn't say it even any further. I can't even speak right now because I'm that bullish when it comes to the Dow. Dow next range, 34.5, around 300 more points of upside potentially coming in here. That's what I'm looking at there. So as far as the indexes, that's what we're seeing. Going over SPY, so you're prepared. SPY. If I'm saying here, your supply, it's been at the same level. 408 to 410, that's my next range. In my opinion, going into Friday, beginning of next week, you're looking to fill this gap in a hurry all the way up to 409.9. That's where I'm looking. There's nothing else to look at here. That's exactly what I see happening. The push up to 408, 409 in a hurry, personally. Again, possibly see a little bit of a dip, but you still look extremely strong. I think you would have to have really bad fundamental news on the market to push you down, or have Powell or someone come out and be a big bear. But as of now, it's full steam ahead, full bull. You haven't heard me this bullish in a while, but that's what it is. Over the next few days, I totally expect it to go to the upside. If not, I'll tell you, I'll show you. But right now, the only position I'm still in is Tesla. I still have over half of my position in that. Again, those are January contracts that I have there. So I'm still feeling fine, but those are up over, I believe, 75, 80% as we speak. So we're up 80% on a 2-month out contract in one day. You got to take that. Now, the good stuff. This is what you came here for. What stocks are we liking? Now, first of all, I want to highlight, you did this today with minimal volume. Today, 66 million volume. If today was any other week besides a holiday week, volume would have been over most likely 120 million. You would have been closer to 140 when you had back here. I want to highlight that first. Now, and you would have had a way bigger run. Now, going into next week, this is what has to excite you. You're going to have more volume kicking in, coming back from holiday. I believe we're looking very primed for bullish behavior. Favorite stock obviously is Tesla. Still love them. I believe you're going to test 188 roughly. So if we go to the 2-hour time frame, so you can see here really quick, you actually have to go to the 1-hour time frame, I believe, right here. So you have a little bit of a wedge forming out here, but I'm gonna tell you right now, this is your next supply roughly, the 187 to 190 range. You get above that, in my opinion, you're gonna break above 200 calls, and the money, that's get scat. It is what it is. Awesome, perfect. Now you're looking for new plays. If you haven't gotten anything, Starbucks. Love it. I've been telling you guys. I've been telling y'all. Starbucks is that guy. It is that play, if you will. Ascending triangle, I told you. Also, stop looking at 4-hour, 1-day time frames and expecting an instant move, people. It takes a little bit longer because guess what? You're looking at a long time frame. But that also tells you the measured move, the move after you break out, is going to be even nastier, people. Starbucks, you're doing it for us. You broke above 98, you hit 100 almost to the T, came down, pushing back up. Targets here, you got to do a little bit of a zoom out to the daily. We zoom out to the daily, your next supply level, roughly 104, 103.8, roughly, if you want to be a little bit conservative. This is where you're coming to here on target. You can also time this out, or not target, Starbucks. Time it out with that previous low you established at 104.05. That's where I'd be looking to scale out of those positions. I mean, this thing's gorgeous. You love Starbucks here also. Now, a big part of the industry that I believe is actually moving a little bit slow lately. Moving a little bit slow. I'm going to tell you right now. It's going to be semiconductors. I mentioned it yesterday. It's slower right now. I believe you're going to need a break and push out of this range to get the confidence and get that follow through. Okay, that's what I believe. TSM is the safest pick of all of them, in my opinion. You're still making these higher lows. It's gorgeous. Okay, I got to highlight that right now. You're still making the higher lows. You can even bring the trend down here, and this is where it's probably linking to, as you can see right there. You're trying to make those higher lows still. You're still making them. You kind of broke trend just a little bit. Now, again, you get over this high roughly around where you're at, where that seller is. 83 roughly. You can hold that on an hour, 2-hour chart. In my opinion, once again, this is my opinion. Stay with me. You're coming into your next range up here locally. This is my next range right up here. Your next supply level around 88 to 89.5. TSM moves a little bit slower. I actually like the treatment you're getting here. The fact that you're slowing down up here gets IV down to make the contracts more affordable. I like it. I like it a lot. Next up, AMD, same sector, still love it. You had a little bit of a slowdown. You pushed up and kind of chopped around here. So if you can get a break above local highs around this region here, you need to come back. You can actually see this is locally around that area you're struggling at also right here. Let me bring it up so you can see. And you can see you almost got rejected to a T there around 78.5. If you can get above that range, amount above 78.5, I'm looking for a push towards 83.7, $84. Again, you're seeing me get big targets, big jumps. Why? Because I anticipate if volume starts to come into the market, right? If volume steps in with this move, you're going to see the bulls show up. You're going to get some volatility here. I'm very surprised Tesla moved the way it did today. All right, I expected upside, but I didn't expect this much upside in one day. We got it. So I do believe you're seeing parts of the market that are slowing down just a little bit. I believe semiconductors have ran quite a bit, but I do believe they have room to run even further into the beginning of December. I want to say that at least until PCE and the Fed data comes out and the new rate hike comes. That's my anticipation. I mean, honestly, if you come into PCE and it beats, I think it's just going to be just bullish across the board, so everyone knows. It's going to be full bull. But you have to expect PCE to beat if PPI and CPI already beat. I mean, everything else just keeps doing exactly what we want. The only thing that isn't really functioning well with this right now has got to be jobs. It's the only thing that I can expect that is not doing exactly what we want. Next up, Apple. Apple's doing something we love. Now, again, if we look at Apple on about the weekly time frame, again, this is the big time frame we're watching, the top and bottom of this trend. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I do think we're going to see 156 to 157. So all my Apple traders out there, Discord, Dave, I know you're watching right now. If you are watching, special shout out. I know you love your Apple. This is a beautiful thing you have for me. On the 2-hour time frame, higher lows continuing to be established, and then on the day also. You're kind of making it a little bit of an ascending triangle here. In my opinion, if you can get volume, if SPY starts to break out, because this is going to really follow SPY, I'm seeing 156 in a hurry. I love the way Apple's moving. I think it could easily get back in this range. You can see the pennant forming here also. Again, do your own DD, but it's a gorgeous, gorgeous pattern here. Very similar to the structure that we saw with what? With Home Depot on the hourly. Very similar, same pattern. Broke out, held, boom, hit our target, right? Mentioned this one this past week also. Again, this is what I'm loving. Now, last up, I got to build up the suspense. I absolutely love this play, people. Okay, this is probably one of my favorite lowest risk plays that there is out there right now. I'm going to give you the stops. I'm going to give you where I love it. I haven't entered yet, so you're going to probably get the same chance and opportunity as me. Ticker symbol B. A, you might have already known, Boeing, people. I'm going boomer for you. If you're above 40, maybe even 30, you're a boomer in my book, and I absolutely love you. Let me tell you right now, Boeing is getting ready to fly, no pun intended. You're making higher lows. A quick bear trap for the boys. Underneath, holding your support to the T and getting ready to break out. Clear cut. Ascending triangle, not descending. I can't even speak. I'm so excited about this thing. This thing gets me absolutely fired up. Your previous low level sitting, I mean, I'm licking my chops thinking about it, people. This has potential to be better than Tesla. Now, zooming out even further, because again, this is where things get exciting when you start to zoom out. Because when you have a beautiful chart on a long-term viewpoint, the 4-hour, 1 day, the weekly, that's when you know you're going to make money. That's how I knew Tesla was going to make us money, right? Now, looking at Boeing. I mean, look at this. Previous highs, mounting on top. Basing here. Let's zoom out a little bit further. Look at that. Previous lows here. Basing, holding above. Had a little bit of resistance, mounting on top. Breaking out the same time Dow breaks out. If we zoom out a little bit further, what are we going to do? We're going to go to the weekly time frame. Look at this. You've been in a downtrend on Boeing. Yes, on Boeing. Since February 2019. This could be one of the biggest and best opportunities you're going to get in a long time on this thing. Short-term targets around 190. This thing could easily run towards the 208, 210 region, right? If I'm looking at this, I am not going short-dated. I'm going for at least January contracts. I want to let that be known right now. That's where you have to go. Your clear-cut supply actually has to be right there. That's my clear-cut supply. 190 all the way up to 197. I know you hate to see it. It's a big range, but it's a daily time frame. I'm telling you, this thing is so bullish. One of the most bullish stocks out there right now. And on top of it, why I believe it's safer. Because you're looking. You have a clear-cut stop if you break back below previous lows here at 168. Again, pretty wide margin, but the risk to reward makes sense because you have almost double that, over double that to the upside, almost double and a half, going up to 192. If you look even further, you're in the strongest sector, the Dow. If you look even further, the strong primary reason why we're looking at Boeing also, why he's breaking out, why he's doing so well, is because of the COVID easing going on in China. If COVID easing happens even further in China, the new airline orders will kick into high gear. Again, fundamental plays are my most exciting, but when they line up with the technicals, I'm telling you, boys, that's me. We're licking the chops. I'll see you after Thanksgiving. Eat some turkey on me. Go outside, play some football, watch the Cowboys lose, win. I don't care who you're rooting for. I'll see you on Friday.